You are watching Business Heroine TV for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. Join the Business Heroine community today at businessheroinemagazine.com. And now, tune into the show.
Hi, I'm Ann Perry, founder of Business Heroine, and today I would love to introduce you to our beautiful August cover heroine, Lydia Lee. So Lydia is the Cubicle Crashing Ninja at Screw The Cubicle. How fun is this? Where she helps free corporate prisoners from the confinements of the 9-to-5 life and awaken their purpose. So Lydia left a close to a 6-figure job in Canada and opted for freedom instead, deciding to run 2 mobile small businesses from her laptop. Her journey became a hot pursuit of location independency, self-expression, play, and purposeful work. So now Lydia spends her time connecting other adventurous changemakers with their true path so they can walk it with passion and lead meaningful lives. She's really driven to see people viewing their work as a way to serve the world and have a lifestyle and career that's aligned with who they are authentically. Lydia is obsessed with travel, exploring human potential, and she even has a trucker mouth when she gets excited. So Lydia, she has this mobile lifestyle where she doesn't even see the difference between work and play, and she's joining us from Bali today. So welcome, Lydia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Anne. That was quite an introduction.
Well, you know, what's amazing is you and I have so much in common, and this is actually why I reached out to Lydia and invited her to be on the cover of Business Heroine magazine, because I was like, I used to have a business called The Virtual Vagabond, and your business is Screw the Cubicle, and it's all about escaping the, you know, the rat race, the hamster wheel, the 9-to-5 box that we're handed and kind of groomed to believe is the be-all and end-all, and really that's not what it's about. So I would love to jump in and let our viewers and readers get some Lydia magic. So tell us, what does Screw the Cubicle mean to you? Is it just about quitting your job? What is it?
Well, it definitely starts with that, because we work such amazing hours in the office space, don't we? Especially if you remember being in the 9-to-5. It's never really just 40 hours, is it? So it definitely starts with leaving the cubicle so that you can pursue freedom. But to me, Screw the Cubicle is really an entire lifestyle of freedom. So it's kind of what I call full freedom at its finest. So it's not just about freedom from work that you hate, but it's freedom to actually fully live a life that you desire. So that includes what you talked about, which was location independency, how to express yourself the way that you want to express yourself, and doing things in life that doesn't include the 9-to-5 schedule. You know, so Screwing the Cubicle really is a lifestyle. You know, it's a radical change of not wanting to accept life as what we've been told from coming out of university or coming out of what our parents told us, you know, what we're able to achieve. Is really to be able to explore and do what you want as a human being, and have the freedom that you think is tailored to your type of life.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful. And even though it's just the two of us talking right now, I feel like I can hear a collective amen coming from the Business Heroine waves there.
Great.
So, Lydia, I know you were born in Malaysia. You grew up in Vancouver, British Columbia. Now you're living in Bali. How did your path lead you to doing, I mean, I want to hear about your work too. So how did your path lead you to doing the work that you do today in your career and in your life of location independency and all of that?
Well, when I was working the corporate job, I was actually in a really, really good job. And I would be considered one of the lucky ones, if you will, because it was a great salary. I got to travel 5 months out of the year, where I was in Europe and Asia. So everyone's going, what are you complaining about? You know, you seem to have it all. You know, you have the nice home and the car and the lifestyle that everybody kind of wants in a way. But that wasn't fulfilling for me. It wasn't a meaningful life. So even though cosmetically everything looked amazing on paper, deep internally, and whether or not I knew what it was at the time, I just didn't feel fulfilled. And I think part of that journey was because I didn't know who I was. I lost track of my identity of the meaning of my life. I've been working for people for so long now, and I've always been good at the jobs that I did, to the point where I went, what is something that's very Lydia? What is the actual purpose of my work, and what is it supposed to entail? So I never questioned that. You just kind of go get a job that looks good or feels good. So I in my whole job with that corporate company, I was working a lot of hours. So I'm looking at about 60 to 80 hours a week at times, when I was abroad. And I had a mental breakdown, literally, in Moscow, in my hotel room going, what's wrong with me? Why am I not happy? Why am I not satisfied? Is it me? Is it job? What is it? And really it boiled down to the fact that I needed to get to know myself on a deeper level. What did I really want in my life? Besides the title of the job, what was me as a human being? So that kind of spun me into a journey of self-discovery, and I started to take a sabbatical after that breakdown. And I really identified, on a very holistic level, what I stood for as a human being. And that led me to have the strategies to really go, I can't live another year like this. All the money in the world just can't give me the health back and the sense of meaning back in my life. So it's my job, it's my mission now to figure out what that is, and I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking I should have done that, I could have done this. I didn't want to have those regrets. So that kind of gave birth to Screw the Cubicle, because on all my I think I'm called the ninja, because I tend to do things really quickly and I find alternative solutions really easily. So even when I was building my first business, I never took out a loan. I think I started with like $2,000 in my bank account, and managed to find out little hacker ways to build websites or outsource, a lot of my small business tasks abroad, so that I could actually save money and not go into debt again, because that's the last thing you want, is to leave another, debt, think that you won't get the salary you used to get, and go into more of a loan problem again. Mm-hmm. So I really started to do everything on a very grassroots level, and figured out a way to help other people build small businesses. That's something they actually want to do. So it's not a glorified job, of just working from home, but really still hating it. What is it that means to you to have this type of job, for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I just am so with you there. And I think that, the freedom, like you talked about, it's all of life. And I often talk about there's five types of freedom. There's financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, brain freedom, like the ability to be able to think clearly, and freedom of self-expression. And that's ultimately what it boils down to, is what I'm hearing you say, is talking about this authentically being you, and who am I really, and what am I really about? Because I can have a fancy job, and even a job that I'm really good at, even a job that pays me really well, even a job that allows me to travel or work from home and all that. But there's something that is missing if it's not coming from the authentic you, if you're not actually putting your gifts in the world. And vocation is really, really this spiritual path.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the business that you started, the two businesses that you started, and what are you doing now?
So when I first started my first business, I had a company called Get the Edge Up, which was a transition business to get me out of the cubicle. So it was still in the same industry of international education, which is where I was from before. So I started a small agency of sending English teachers to teach English, in Thailand and China. And that was just an easy go-to for me, because I had the contacts already. It was easy for me to build, and it still let me have the mobile lifestyle. And I still advocated freedom, which is helping people do that 1-year gap year to really go, well, go earn some money abroad, but travel. Because travel was such a huge part of my life, where all the things I learned from traveling was almost like 10 years of therapy, 1 year of travel. So I knew how important it was to be in a location that you weren't comfortable in, to kind of begin again of getting to know yourself and forget about your degree, forget about what other people even identified you as, and start from scratch, and which is a really scary thing, to kind of get rid of all that conditioning and all the fears that we we have when we're growing up, being told what not to do or what you are able to do. So that was my first business, really coaching people that were leaving university and going, I still don't know what I want to do, but hey, I can take a year off, make some money, and then find myself, when I was traveling. And then through that business, I was networking a lot with small business entrepreneurs as well. And they were really, really interested in going, how are you traveling so much? How are you doing this virtual lifestyle? What are you using to not have an office, and how do you schedule yourself that you're allowed to play, and actually have a life in between your work? So then I started really doing a lot of free talks and giving my advice for free, because I just really wanted people to experience this type of business that where I designed the business to fit my lifestyle rather than the other way around, because that was priority for me now. I wasn't willing to do another glorified job of hustling when my life was on the line. So I really did it according to where do I want to live, how do I want to play, who do I want to work with, and what are my, what are some interests I would like to pick up this year, and revolve my business strategies around that, and then, Screw the Cubicle was born because I realized how many people were actually building businesses that they thought they had to build because it was, it's a good transition. I've done this before, but it's not really something they wanted to do in the first place. So then, they spent all this money on business strategies, joining all these programs that gave them great marketing tactics and way to market, but the heart, the why wasn't part of the business. So it was still dragging their feet, to get up in the morning and get it done because it felt like work.
Yeah, exactly. Work felt like work. Yeah, I've done that.
Like
oh my gosh, I totally built a business out of what I thought was available to me. And what happened was I burnt out, ultimately.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And so one of the things I just heard you say was that your life was on the line. And that's like that's a big statement, but I hear that's really what it comes down to. It's not just about, wouldn't it be fun to just travel? It's like, this is my life here. My life is on the line. And so I would love to hear a little bit more about, why do you think it's important for people to design a career and business that matches their lifestyle, not the other way around?
Well, the one thing for sure is that we put priority in what we do for money, because that seems to be, we're a monetary society. So this seems to be the one thing that most people put importance in. But they forget that we earn that money so that we can go take the holidays, go get healthy and all this stuff. So eventually the money just equals to, there's a value in that money. If not, the money is just paper at the end of the day. But if you don't know what you're doing with it, you still have no meaning in what you're doing with all that monetary gain. And in my opinion, that you can't have a healthy business and you can't have a really thriving business if your lifestyle is shit. If you're unhealthy, you're stressed out, you're not playing. And I really do believe in play, which is what Bali's brought me, because all my creative ideas and all these amazing opportunities that I've had for my business came from the fact that I unplugged from here and lived from the heart, and that was when the passion came. Because I feel like when we're in the first world, it's a little bit more difficult to, take off and take a scooter ride and go to the beach and just play for the day, because there's more boundaries on that. You'd be stuck in traffic and there's all these other things that get in the way. And I found that passion was something that was kind of, that light, that flame was not as bright as I found for people that were actually traveling. That was in an environment that allowed you to play and ask questions about the existence of why you're here. Why are we in the world that we're in? So these questions don't really get there until you start to get yourself out of that, 9-to-5 space. But being able to have a lifestyle that I really, really love makes me excited about the business, because now there's a really big why. It's like, if I don't survive in this business, or I don't really work really hard, this life that I really like goes away too. It's kind of like, I don't want to see the difference between work and play. I want it to be a one thing. It's a lifestyle. So my work isn't separate. I don't go, oh, I can't wait to get out of the office so that I can do this. It's kind of this nice sweet spot where I would be doing this and talking about this even if I wasn't paid, because there's a deeper why in everything that I do. It's not just business. It's not just strategy, and reconnecting with that really helps me have meaning And that's really the biggest theme, I think, is having meaning in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard like at least 15 different times there were more amens coming through the ethers there. At least for my mind, I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And something you said, it's about you would do what you're doing if you weren't getting paid. When you can look at, this is for all the business heroines tuning in, what you're doing for fun, for free anyway, like the conversation you would have at a cocktail party with friends that, they're going to have to like rip you away at the end of the night because it's just such an engaging conversation. If you can make that conversation your business, if you can make the thing you're passionate about your business, it feels like play. And it's like you still work hard, but it's that at the end of the day, it's that feeling of you went skiing all day, and so you're tired because you played hard all day. Not like you can't. You're just like your face is sagging down to your knees, and you just want to go to sleep, kind of tired. It's just totally different.
Yeah, and your business should be an extension of who you are as a human being, right? It's like your message to the world. It's like, this is what I give a shit about, and this is how I'm going to do it. You can do it in many different ways, and that's really how I look at businesses. Your purpose, there is a very common theme here about your existence. And if you actually look, and that's why I do what I do, I do the purpose hunting first, and then I do the business strategies. Because that's like cosmetic to me, the business strategies. First you need to find out deep down your why, why you're doing what you're doing. And if it's an extension of who you are as a person, what are your value systems like? What is the belief that you have about the world and that you're trying to change? So it's this kind of legacy that you're leaving with your business rather than just a thing to make money, because you can just go do something else and then still be miserable. But this is now like you want to die doing this, and that can change. The vehicles of how you deliver that purpose changes. Sometimes you're a coach, another day you could be an author about that, or another day you throw like a really great party and that's the theme that you have. So it's kind of appears in every part of your life, so it can't be separated. It's very much an extension of your identity and you as a human being.
Yeah. And something that's coming to mind as you're sharing there is that we're so lucky in this day and age that this is becoming more and more, first of all, socially acceptable to invent your own business around whatever it is you want to invent your business around.
Right.
And also that technology allows us to do it. You're there calling in from Bali. I'm in Petaluma, California. I see you in your cute little bamboo office there. And I mean, what a privilege, But it is, like you said, the why, and it's like, it becomes, all of a sudden, your world becomes about not just you and being happy, it becomes about making a difference, and you're up to, like, doing what you came here to do, and like you said, legacy, it's such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
I would love to hear, what is your biggest discovery or aha moment from your freedom lifestyle and your business journey so far?
Well, one of the biggest thing I discovered when I actually went on the road, I sold all my belongings in Vancouver. My life is down to 3 Rubbermaid containers at my mom's garage. That's become of my life in a way. I've sold all my belongings, and I thought I would really miss it, especially those 30 pairs of shoes that I love so much. But I really discovered that, all that is really just stuff. And what I spend my time and money on nowadays is experiences, and the more that I experience, the more I find out about myself. What I thought I knew back even a year ago is nothing like what I know today. Life is really an adventure. And the more that I allow myself to play and express and to almost live life like everything's new again. And I think that's why I'm such an advocate for mobile travel lifestyle as well with the business, is because you should go out there and explore the world. The world doesn't revolve around these 4 poster, cubicle things that you're in, or even in the city that you live in. There's so much more about yourself that maybe you wouldn't have discovered unless you went somewhere and got scared shitless because you're in like a culture that you don't understand. You have to fend for yourself again. You have to figure out a new way to do something. It just gets you to a point where you're like using your brain and using your heart again, and not be in this monotony that I think kills the human spirit, And so to me, it's about the activation. Is that like the more that I unplug from the laptop, go out on the lawn and try something new like hula hooping, which you think has nothing to do with anything. But I find so much about myself from that act. So like, I've been learning this hula hooping because I never did it before when I was a child. I never got to do these kind of girly games, and I figured out that I was so hard on myself when I was trying to hula hoop. It was like I couldn't, I was really angry when I couldn't get a move right, and then in my head I'm like, I don't want to do this, and I thought, wait, how's this how else is this happening in my life? How is this kind of a mirror for my attitude and my behavior about things that are hard? So it kind of opens up different ways of understanding yourself, and so the more that I think about my freedom lifestyle, I think, man, I find the answers when I really do things that are uncomfortable and that I don't think are normal, and exploring that way. So going to a dance class, doing a 10-hour meditation thing, to see where I go with that and experimenting with life. It all is part of me growing as a human being. And I'm so grateful, to be able to do this. And also knowing how cheap it is to do it here. Like people think, oh, you must have saved up all this money and you live in this beautiful tropical island, and they see pictures of me on my Instagram and going, wow, that's a really nice hotel and resort that you've been in. That must have cost you a fortune. It's like, actually, no, I saved money by being out here because I earned, my salary, if you will, in American dollars or North American dollars. I live on Indonesian rupiahs, which is less than $1,000 a month. And I outsource in pesos. So, I have more of my earnings to play with, and so it is possible, and possibilities is a really big theme for my life right now.
Yeah, me too. It's like, these track games. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. And would you agree that once you kind of crack through to the mobile lifestyle,
mm-hmm.
It's like you're there. It's like it seems so impossible before it's done. At least this was my experience. It was something I wanted so badly and just didn't know that I could actually make it possible for myself. And it was like, once I cracked through, that was the hardest one. But then, and going to Central America and traveling and working. And then after that, it became so much easier. Then my husband and I bought an RV and traveled around the U.S. And it was like, that had been something that had been this really long time dream. But each time it's like, it's just easier. It's just like kind of the barrier is thinner. And once you're there, you're there.
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, I'm not, I'm adventurous, but I'm not one of those people that go, you know what, I thought of something, everything's gone out the window, and I'm just going to jump, full head first. I still need to I'm the kind of person that needs a bit of calculated risk, if you will. So I really, when I was thinking about mobile lifestyle, I didn't go into it going, I'm going to sell everything right now, and then just jump ship. It was just these little phases of testing out how that feels like to me, because maybe Asia isn't the place that I want to be in. Maybe I want to be in Central America. What is it like to live in Peru? What is it like to live in, Thailand? So I really recommend doing those sabbaticals, really taking that month and going, can I live in this place? Do I like the food? Because that's really important to me. Do I like the culture? Am I learning new things about life here? And are the people that are in this environment, the expat community and the local community, are these people that really share my value system that I can call my community? So being able to test out and do little breaks from your current life and not go all out right away is totally recommended. And that's what I did. I did that 2-month sabbatical. And at first, for the first few weeks, it was difficult, to not be in familiar territory. And then you start to, just as everything we do as humans, we start to get used to it. And we start to look at all the amazing things that we get out of this experience. And then being able to know the possibilities of mobile offices or co-working spaces that are available globally. Now, all of a sudden, you're like, wow, I can still have an office space if I want to. I can still have a meeting room and boardroom if I want to. And knowing that can really give you the courage that life doesn't have to be like you're in the Amazon jungle, being a hippie nomad. By far, I'm not a hippie nomad, but I think it's just exploring and testing out, experimenting first. Before you go all out and drop everything, and do it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So again, you're there in your little bamboo office, and last time you and I spoke offline, there were all these roosters.
Right.
What's the word? The rooster crowing.
Yeah.
And so give us a little snippet of a day in the life of Lydia based in Bali?
Well, my life usually starts off with, I don't go straight to my laptop. I've really found that if I don't start my morning with checking emails, because I get plugged in and then I can't stop. It's a bit of an addiction to get things done, isn't it? So now what I really do in the morning is I try to think about what I want to experience today. You know, not even about I want to experience it through yoga or I want to experience it through a walk, but what is the feeling I want to experience today? Is it like peacefulness? Do I feel like I need to be grounded today? Or do I feel like I want some fun and excitement, and set that intention for the day? So before I start to get into being overwhelmed by other people's agendas, and when I say that, I mean, clients or networking people on Facebook, whatever. Before I start to get into that mode, I think about what would I like for the day. And then I don't get online. I shut off everything in the morning for about an hour. And I do my yoga, or I do a walk, or I do some meditation, or I just sit there and look at my beautiful scenery of, paddy fields and beautiful birds that are all around me, and start to really feel for life, and feel good. Start the morning feeling good, because that makes a huge difference,
Totally.
To start it with that vibration of like just gratitude, of like being alive and being here. And that sets the tone, I think, for the rest of the day. And then I start to go into work and start to do the things that matter the most. What's going to get me to my biggest goals for my business? What's more meaningful for me to do, rather than just open my email and not set a time to leave. So I really set these time blocks. So I'll say, okay, I know I want to be at the beach by 3:00. I'm working at 8. So how am I going to time block myself to be able to get these tasks done so I can go play? So that's the reward, almost. So being able to reward myself after doing a bit of work. And I try to break up my day quite a bit. So I'm very lucky to be in Ubud, Bali, where, healthy living, organic food, and just really the lifestyle of dance and spirituality and yoga is really big here. So going to classes to learn new things are like, right up the street for me. So I try to kind of pick up new hobbies, actually. Pick up new things that start to get me being creative again and learning from the get-go again. So I try to break that up by going to a class, in between my work. Going out and eating without the laptop open. Going to enjoy the day, and then coming back and mixing that with my day. So that feels normal now, not just stuck in a space and going, I can't get out. So life really is really spontaneous, So people will say, are you, Bali, your home base now? And I'll say, I don't know. It feels good right now, so it is. And if tomorrow it doesn't feel good, well, then I'm going to be on my next journey of finding out where that feels good next.
Yeah.
It's very spontaneous.
Yeah, I love it. That was golden right there. I mean, a lot of tips for having a productive day and a spirit-centered day and a just purposeful day, no matter if you're in Bali or Toledo, Ohio, it doesn't matter. Like those were really awesome tips. And I love the idea too of just taking different classes and experimenting with life, because that's something we can do anywhere too, and at least breaks up those neural pathways, like the trodden path that's already worn down. It's like goes off that path and creates new paths, and what becomes available from that is just new possibilities, whether that's creating the location-free life, or starting a new business that's based on your purpose, or whatever adventure life has for us. Because, life is short. Seize the day.
Life is short. Life is short. And that's what I get a lot from traveling. You hear that a lot from older people that are now the nomads as well. And they say, don't do that. Don't have those regrets, unless you were someone living, in Africa, that your first priority is like trying to find clean water. You have no excuse to live in the first world and not take a risk. Because you've been giving a gift. You've been given a gift that is so much more lucky than a lot of parts of the world, that people don't have this opportunity, to have a bit of a comfort zone. You could always go back to a job if you need to, but until you cross that bridge, go all out. Go find out what that life means for you. What does happiness mean to you? Which is such a thing we don't get taught in school. Everything is so logical, You come out with this degree, you're supposed to have this job. But we don't explore anymore about our natural gifts, the essence of who we are. And that's where I started. I used to do business coaching, and now it's like, that's like the secondary thing I do. It's all about that finding of that purposeful meaning of who you are as an identity. And once you know that, the paths are clear. you don't think about what strategy should I go into, because you already know. You already know from a deep part of yourself what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, since we all didn't take a class called Find Your True Essence and Explore the Magical Possibilities of the World, you are somebody who teaches this information and supports people into finding that path for themselves. How can our business heroines who are tuning in today find out more? What's the best way to start the path of working with you?
Well, definitely visit my website, which is screwthecubicle.com. So it should be an easy one for you to remember. And there's a section there as well, which is what I do with clients, called the Real You Roadmap. So if they want to take a read of that and what that means, and if that, resonates with them and they feel called that this is something that's been going on, that I need to find out what this real you is, I would love to speak to them. And I have tons of articles that helps people really understand themselves, and tips from what I've been doing of a mobile lifestyle. What does that look like? And I do cost comparison and all this stuff, so they can find some free information right away to start. And I'll be happy to connect with them if they feel that they want to speak.
That's great. And we'll make sure that we have the link to this Find the Real You. Is that what you said it was called?
It's called the Real You Roadmap.
The Real You Roadmap. We'll make sure we have a link to that in the article here.
Perfect.
So, and Screw the Cubicle. When you said that, I was picturing all these like little stickers in people's cubicles at work. That's like Screw the Cubicle, like just kind of where like everyone else can't see it, but little screwthecubicle.com stickers.
Yeah, no, actually, I've been wanting to get stickers put together and then just pasting them everywhere, all around, people traveling, going, yeah, maybe I could do this. And before they go home from their vacation, it'll put kind of a little seed in their head, right?
Yeah, totally. It's like a movement. It's like a little, hey.
Yeah, it's like possible.
It's possible. Yeah, join the club. So that's awesome. Well, Lydia, thank you so much for joining us and for making this month's Business Heroine cover gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much.
And for doing your awesome work in the world. I'm so happy that you created this life for yourself and that you are activating it for other people. And that community of people who are just going mobile and building business of their dreams, inventing it from what they love, is growing and growing. And the Business Heroine community is totally that. So thank you for doing your work in the world.
Thank you for having me. It was really, really fun. I love connecting with you.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. All right. And heroines tuning in, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
You have been watching Business Heroine TV for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out what's new at businessheroinemagazine.com today.